Hi everyone, I'm here through the portal to share my life experience as a migrant, and here, very specific that I do say life experience because I had a very short-lived life in the sense that I died as a young boy in my recent life experience, my last reincarnation. To the extent where I had very few memories or remembrances. Even as a little kid, I had recollections of a time where I had a place I could call home. Where you have the daily routine of having decent food, having a place to sleep, having change of clothes for every day, having a stable family, having moments of play, moments of learning. I was still a very, very, very young boy, and my parents had just gotten into the process of teaching me how to speak, until my parents had to flee their home and their country, their roots, and so most of my memories as a child, from my childhood, actually comes from the experiences that I had with my parents, who were trying to find a place of refuge. Now, in terms of looking back, to also share with everyone here in how us beings coming through the portal, sharing our life reviews, after you die, you walk a life review, where you go through your life experience, all the memories, all the moments. But right now, I'm more sharing with you, how I lived and how I experienced myself, like during that time that we were trying to seek a place of safety, to continue being able to live and survive. That we could not find, my parents could not find that place of living and surviving in their own country, in their own home, in their own space. And even here, if we look at the word ownership, we don't own even the very ground we walk on. We have built a home on. There's so many things in your life, that can uproot you. So many people have varying experiences of migrating, if you will, where, let's have a look more in the elitist countries, where you lose your home, you lose your income, you lose your family, friends, things like that, and you essentially seek a place of refuge, even within your own home environment or living space. So, even as a child, there was also always that something that I felt inside myself that obviously as a child I couldn't articulate or vocabularize because I couldn't speak, but it was always there, that feeling or that experience of not being like grounded, like really held, like really safe, like really as though, I don't know if many can relate to this experience, or even if you've ever tried it, where you just like stand, with your feet like kind of sunk into the earth or into the grass, and you just close your eyes and it feels like you can almost plant yourself right there in that spot, like, yes, like this is where I belong. I mean, I have memories as a child of when I did that with the soil of the earth, you know, and that's where I felt like, you know, it was like a moment, a space where I really felt like the earth, just that moment was almost like I could sink in, you know, to the earth, into that moment. I was really grounded, rooted, felt safe, I felt nurtured, like I was in touch with a part of me. And so as a child, I really loved sinking my feet into the earth. You know, that would be the only moment where I felt that. But the moment when I was with my parents or in my family home, there was always tension. There was always like this uncertainty, this air of uncertainty. I would often see my mom crying, my father coming home as though he had the burden of the world on his shoulders. And I know that they tried to, you know, be there for me as much as they could. I could feel that, but I never felt safe. And then suddenly one night, in the middle of the night, I got grabbed by my parents, and there was fires, and they were running, and people were screaming, and we got into a truck, and I mean, off we went. I didn't know what was happening or what was going on. I could, to a certain extent, understand what they were saying or trying to convey to me in how my parents were holding me and how they were with me. You know, this is something many children are actually quite aware of in relation to how parents communicate through their body language. And in their words, you know, even though I couldn't understand their words, I could understand the sound of their words. And it seemed like almost forever, you know, that we were traveling, and sometimes it felt like days went by that we didn't eat. There was also, you know, memories of moments where there were fights, my parents being thrown out of the trucks. We were on rivers and boats, and we hadn't bathed. The clothes that I was wearing had been torn. Then we went in one direction, and then we also came back to another direction or place, and we were traveling and moving around for many months, never settling. And there were some time frames within that where my parents found a place, you know, where we could kind of settle in and sleep and get some proper food. But then before we knew it, we were moving around again. And I mean, for me as a child, how I responded or reacted to that, I didn't know what to do with it. My parents were different every day. I was being exposed and seeing things happening to them and the people around me. Some were also fleeing one area where they were being hunted down and shot and killed. We were constantly what felt like it was on the run. And I mean, I didn't understand what my parents were trying to do during that time, but they're trying to find refuge in a different country, a different area, a different place, for quite some time, until eventually I got sick. And then, you know, because of where they were, where all of us were, we were sometimes moving in groups of people. They couldn't find support for me, for my body. And I just got more sick and more sick. And within the groups that we were moving, no one knew what was wrong with me. I had fever, and I couldn't eat, sweating, coughing. And so I died. And I mean, many people would obviously ask, but, why would a child be coming into this world for such a short-lived life experience? And many people don't even ask that. But, we're all on this earth. We're beings, in our bodies, living a life. We don't know what life we're going to be incarnating into. We don't know what life lies ahead for us, and many people, for example, can think or believe that when you die it's done, or you go to some place or another that is different or better than what is here. But based on what all of us see and experience after death, and especially in our life reviews and with your coming through the portal, you come back. And I can go into an extensive amount of detail in relation to what I as a child had gone through and experienced. Why it is that I got so sick was because I didn't know what to do with what was happening around me. It was so traumatic, so shocking, so emotional that I kind of went into this quiet space inside myself. And I was usually this abundant, extroverted, really joyful being, but I had no way of handling or dealing with my parents' experience of their lives, of doing everything and anything that they could to find a better life for us all. But yet the exact opposite happened. No country, no peoples, no government, no nothing, no one was there to help us, to support us. And this type of experience we're finding on a bigger scale and on a smaller scale, because this entire system, this world system, is showing one thing, that it doesn't have the good of the people at heart. You have so many people whose lives are being ruined because of the nature and the way that this whole world system and money system is set up. Where people have very short-lived lives simply because of what has been left behind here by the generations that have gone before us. So, look, in terms of how the system exists now, how countries are set up, what our relationship is to this earth, to each other, to humanity as a whole, I do plead to all of you who have a safe home, to have something that you can call a home, no matter how big or small, but you have a stable place. You've got a stable life, stable income, friends, family, relationships, to consider that there are a majority of people on this earth who do not have that the very life that you have now is because of the very system that is creating the very kind of life that I had to live, and my parents as well. So maybe for a moment to step outside your comfort zones and just have a look at finding some way within yourself to find a way to change this world, to change the way we provide a living experience and survival for all of humanity, for everyone equally. Because, you might not know what life you might be incarnating to in the next. Do you have to first live through this life and have a good life, and then maybe reincarnate into a really bad life, and then, be like me coming through the portal, just trying to plead to people to, look, please change. Please do something to find a way where we can change how life on earth is lived. Or you can just do it with awareness, by just for a moment realizing or reminding yourself in some way every day that the life you have now, the very system that's creating it, is creating the majority of the mess that we're facing on earth today. And, just to also get out of that apathy that can also exist when you have money, when you have a good life, of thinking that, oh, everything's good, I don't have to do anything, when every second there are children, people dying just trying to live and to survive. So please, you're here, you're breathing, you're living, do something with the time that you have that can be contributory in a way where you leave something behind, you know, this life that you can be proud of. You can show, look, I've put in the time, the effort, the discipline to find a way to change this world, the system, not only for me, but for everyone else and maybe even my own future. All right. Thank you very much.